Hello and welcome to the Pharmacy Informatics Professor 2020 with your host, Dr. Armin Simonian. I'm still very excited about the ASHP 2020 survey on pharmacy practice on a national level. And of course, the reason I'm so excited is we've really come to the point where technology is the main tool that's used in pharmacy practice, especially in the acute care setting. I introduced the survey in the last Journal Club episode 79. And I mentioned that I wanted to dig a little further into this survey and talk about specific technologies, a few of them that are mentioned that were surveyed and had some very interesting results. And what I wanted to do was start with automated dispensing cabinets. Automated dispensing cabinets, or ADCs, are the most implemented technology in the acute care setting. And we've talked in the past about how we went from having floor stock, nursing floor stock long ago, to the unit dose drug distribution system, and then having automated dispensing cabinets, and that kind of changed the way that we distributed drugs within the hospital. And so we've been surveying this technology for a long time. And it's interesting how things have changed. So I want to get back into the survey and talk a little bit about the details of what they found with automated dispensing cabinets. Let's bring up the presentation and let me get into talking about this technology. So very interesting. Again, this is the ASHP National Survey of Pharmacy Practice in Hospitals. And this survey focused on dispensing and administration. So just to review, every year they do this survey and they pick two of the topics along the medication use process. And so every 3 years, you can go back and look at the last 3 years and see what they've surveyed in terms of the entire medication use process. But this 2020 survey really focused on dispensing and administration. Now, one of their key points, their first key point, was decentralized drug distribution systems now predominate in U.S. hospitals. And when they're talking about decentralized drug distribution, they're really referring to ADCs. So this, as I mentioned, is the most implemented technology. And you see here that the number has risen to 94.1% of hospitals. So of course, these are the hospitals that were surveyed, but 94.1% have automated dispensing cabinets. Now, when we first started using automated dispensing cabinets, they were really used in a non-profile mode. So it was really for first doses, PRN meds, and kind of what we call floor stock. So narcotics, PRNs, and first doses of medications. And then once those were removed, then the rest of the meds were still sent up to the floors in a hybrid system. And then as hospitals moved to implementing the profile systems that restricted the removal of meds to only those meds where there was a verified order that the pharmacist had already checked, then we got away from this idea of first doses and PRNs and went to full distribution of medications through the ADCs. So if you look at the next statistic that I've noted here, ADC as primary method of drug distribution, and this occurs in almost 75% of the hospitals. So in 75% of the hospitals, the main method of getting the meds up to the nursing stations, having them available there for removal and administration to the patients, is through automated dispensing cabinets. Now, one of the things that they looked at was the use of matrix drawers versus lidded pockets. So again, early on, the matrix drawer was kind of a main drawer that was used in these automated dispensing cabinets. And these happen to be pictures of Omnicell drawers. So I'll note that Pyxis, of course, was the first company and kind of the gold standard for ADCs a number of decades ago, but Omnicell came on the scene fairly quickly, and they are the main competitors. So just wanted to mention that so that I have full disclosure on what I'm showing here. But the drawer configurations were similar in both machines. And so here you see at the top a matrix drawer. So here you can put quite a few medications. Real estate within that ADC is very precious. You're trying to get as many drugs as possible into the ADC so that you can stock a few hundred drugs, and this should cover most of the meds that might be used on that specialty or general medicine floor in that hospital. And so the use of matrix really makes a lot of sense in terms of using the real estate within the ADC most effectively. There's only so much room in those 6 or 7 drawers that you have in that automated dispensing cabinet for storing medications. Now, the problem with the matrix drawer, though, is you can have drugs that look alike or sound alike next to each other. And this is a med safety issue, of course. And one thing that we know from the start, from day one, when these systems were implemented, we have had nurses shop for medications. So they'll say that they're going to remove an acetaminophen out of the matrix drawer, but while they're in there, they might grab a couple of other meds that they know need to be administered for that patient. Or sometimes, unfortunately, they pocket the meds for personal use. And so a matrix drawer is unsafe in a number of ways. And the main problem is that there's shopping going on, and you can have unauthorized removal of medications from the ADC. And then you can also easily make a mistake if the person removing the medication is not paying attention to which row and column, the exact pocket that that med is housed in. If they're not reading the screen and going to that spot and just trying to find the drug visually, then you have this issue where if 2 drugs look alike, they might inadvertently select the wrong medication, and you have a medication error. Now, what we've moved to more is lidded pockets. So lidded pockets only expose 1 drug at a time. And so this is perfect for the profile system. So for a patient, you might have 5 or 6 or 10 meds that have been ordered on that patient, verified by the pharmacist, have passed through the interface, and now the machine knows that list of medications. And so the nurse can only remove the meds for which there is a verified order for that patient. And when they select a med, one of those meds for removal, the drawer will pop, and only the lidded drawer that contains that medication will also pop open. So this is really a major safety issue. And we have moved away from the matrix drawer. So if you look in the survey and you look at the numbers in 2008, when they did a survey, it was 50-50. So nurses were still taking meds out of matrix drawers 50% of the time in hospitals, and then lidded pockets the other 50%. Now it's gone to more like 80-20. So only 20% of the hospitals are using matrix drawers for removal of meds, and pretty much 80% has gone to moving the meds into lidded pockets and having the nurse remove those one at a time from those safe lidded pockets. So a very interesting deeper dive into automated dispensing cabinets, some of the specifics of how we configure these machines, and the link to medication safety, where we want to move away from matrix drawers to lidded pockets. And according to the survey, this has been the trend over the years and continues, and hopefully we can totally minimize or even eliminate matrix drawers and just go to the safer option of lidded pockets. So this is the discussion that they had within the survey specific to automated dispensing cabinets that I thought was really interesting. And so I wanted to talk about ADCs today as one of the main technologies, the top technologies, technology that's implemented in hospitals. And in future episodes, I'd like to talk about a couple of other technologies, namely smart pumps and then IV workflow management systems that they also dive into. Now, these aren't the only technologies that are mentioned in the survey. So again, it was one of the reasons why I was really happy to see this survey and why it's so interesting for me, because it's taken many years to get to this point where technology is really the main tool for the pharmacists in the hospital practice. But I want to just focus in on those few technologies. But I do recommend reading the entire survey, which gets into other areas such as data analytics and artificial intelligence and telemedicine and remote review of orders. So again, read the survey. It's very interesting for the pharmacy informaticist. If this was helpful for you, please like the video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll thank you for that. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, look after the health of others. I will continue to work on more episodes, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.